and spouting off in her podcast. I mean, what is your view of how this podcast is going down at the moment, especially what the royal family is saying, if they're saying anything?
It's very interesting, just before she did it.
This is the kind of revelation that doesn't just dent a reputation, it obliterates it. In a jaw-dropping on-air statement, royal biographer Angela Levin has thrown Meghan Markle's entire marriage narrative into chaos, claiming that Harry was never her first royal target. According to Levin, Meghan's original sights were set on none other than Prince William, the future King of England. If that's true, it's not just a personal humiliation, it's a full-scale PR disaster. A bombshell capable of rewriting the great love story the Sussexes have been selling to the world for the past 7 years.
She said that she wanted to speak without anybody filtering out what she said. She wanted to say the real me, so we'd all get to know that. I think she's put herself right down the drain, actually.
It's as if Meghan has flushed her own fairy tale straight down the drain. The romantic fantasy now collapses into something far colder. A calculated strategy, driven not by love, but by ruthless ambition to claim the most prestigious royal prize of all. Angela Levin isn't just any commentator. She's a veteran of the royal beat, with decades of rare access to senior royals, courtiers, and aides who normally shy away from gossip. That's why her words carry such weight. So when Levin says she's been told by people inside the palace walls that Meghan's first royal target was Prince William, she's not speaking recklessly. She's speaking from conversations with those who were there.
I think people have, all around the world, not just the UK, have felt that her behaviour is not appropriate at any level about anyone. I mean, there were several lies that she said as well. One was...
In her latest interview, Angela Levin revealed that credible insiders told her Meghan's earliest interactions with the royal family included both subtle and sometimes not so subtle attempts to forge a closer connection with Prince William. Levin was clear. This wasn't idle palace gossip. These were accounts from people who say they personally witnessed Meghan's behavior and believed her attention toward William was unusually intense, focused on the man destined to wear the crown. For Meghan, this claim isn't just damaging, it's devastating, because it suggests that Harry wasn't the one from the very beginning. He was simply the one who was available.
N-word, which people don't use about her children. I can't imagine that any journalist would do that today. She hasn't got any proof. Another was that she couldn't take her Archie to school because there'd be about 40.
According to Angela Levin, long before that famous 2016 blind date with Harry, Meghan's first choice had already slipped out of reach. And her social life? It wasn't the random whirl of a Hollywood actress, it was laser-focused. Levin sources claim Meghan deliberately angled for invitations to charity galas, fashion shows, and cultural events where she knew the Cambridges would be in attendance. Was this simply the curiosity of an eager royal admirer? Perhaps, but when you trace the pattern, event after event, appearance after appearance, it starts to look far less like coincidence and far more like calculated positioning.
Photographers there every single day, but there's a law in this country that you can't do that. You can go and take a small royal child on the first day of term, and that's it. You leave them alone, and it's obeyed. And
she didn't just happen to cross paths with William and Kate, she steered herself directly into their orbit. In the world of celebrity and royalty, proximity is currency, and according to Angela Levin, Meghan was banking every coin she could to edge closer to the man at the very top of the royal hierarchy. Palace aides, famously hard to impress, allegedly picked up on Meghan's heightened interest in William almost immediately. She asked questions about him. She tracked his public appearances. She seemed to study his image and interests with an intensity that, in hindsight, feels far less like casual curiosity and far more like a targeted mission.
It's not obeyed by the photographers, it's obeyed by the press. But she didn't do that. But another one which really fascinated me was that she said that she didn't have to sign anything while she was at the royal family, so she can say anything she liked.
It all feels less social and far more strategic. One palace aide, speaking to Angela Levin on the condition of anonymity, reportedly said Meghan's demeanor toward William wasn't overtly romantic, it was calculated charm. The kind of warmth and attentiveness meant to win over an influential figure who could open the most guarded doors in Britain. But there was one obstacle. William, raised to read people and navigate the intricate politics of royal life, he could spot ambition from 50 paces. Insiders say he kept a polite yet noticeably cool distance, ensuring every interaction with Meghan stayed firmly surface level and always in the public eye.
Whereas what she said in Oprah Winfrey was that they silenced her. So
They took her passports, apparently, and everything else.
Well, she went on 18 holidays the year that they took her passports. I can't imagine they would let her out the country without that. But, you know,
every plan has a turning point. And for Meghan, that moment came when it became clear that William was not an opportunity, but an immovable obstacle. He was already married to Kate, deeply committed to his future as king, and unwilling to form any personal connection that might even look improper. Kate herself, according to Levin sources, quickly sensed something unusual in Meghan's attention. Far from the warm, sisterly bond Meghan would later claim she had hoped for, Kate kept things strictly professional, offering polite smiles while guarding her marriage and her role with quiet, calculated vigilance. In the palace, it's known for...
and really, it was all about her. She wants to align herself with extremely rich women so that they become a group, but actually she always has to win. And extraordinarily, she thinks that we all want to know. And that, for example, when she was called a diva...
What the press often painted as simple clashing personalities may have had a far deeper cause. Kate had sensed that Meghan's gaze had once been fixed on her husband, and trust was never going to anchor their relationship. When William became an unreachable goal, Meghan's romantic story with Harry allegedly kicked into high gear. Here was a royal bachelor, the spare to William's heir, who was not only single, but also famously emotionally vulnerable. Critics argue this pivot was both swift and strategic. Once Harry was identified as the alternative path into royal life, Meghan's focus shifted entirely, transforming from casual acquaintance to calculated pursuit.
That she told us in detail about how she sweated. Well, you know, we don't really want to know that, do we? But I thought that both of them have been just quite dreadful. And I think now coming over here, it's very different.
The whirlwind romance, just weeks between their first date and whispers of commitment, takes on a different meaning if urgency was part of the plan. If Meghan's ambition was to marry into the royal family, then Harry represented the last open door. From there, the fairy tale was rewritten. William was quietly erased from the prelude. Harry was cast as the leading man, and the glossy narrative of soulmates against the world was born. But now, thanks to Angela Levin's revelation, that carefully edited prologue is back under the public spotlight, and it's far less romantic than the Sussexes would ever want us to believe.
Difficult for the royal family to see her, because anything they say, she'll take it down and use it as evidence against them, whatever it is they say. She's right, she's got a diary, she wants to write another angry book about her terrible time.
When Angela Levin made her claim, royal watchers didn't just ask if it was true, they asked if it fit. And for many, the answer is yes. Why? Because this wouldn't be the first time Meghan's relationship seemed to align neatly with her career or social ambitions. Before Harry, she was married to Hollywood producer Trevor Engelson, a connection that gave her access to industry networks far beyond what her Suits role could reach. After their divorce, she moved into circles tied to celebrity stylists, political donors, and philanthropists with global influence. In each case, a clear pattern emerges. Meghan invests deeply in relationships that carry weight, that open doors, and that elevate her position on the social ladder.
With the royal family, she did it. She did her podcast the week at the Diana's anniversary of her death, which I think was totally inappropriate. The Queen is not well, we all know that, yet she just blasts her way through. I've never known anybody quite like that.
Her alleged early focus on William slots seamlessly into this history, not as some shocking anomaly, but as the continuation of a well-worn modus operandi. The public has long been aware of the frosty dynamic between Meghan and Kate, but Angela Levin's revelation gives that tension a far sharper edge. If Meghan once saw William as the ultimate royal prize, then Kate was never just a sister-in-law, she was the rival who had already secured the role Meghan wanted most. And that kind of underlying tension doesn't melt away over tea and polite small talk. It lingers, it festers. Some palace aides, speaking anonymously over the years, have hinted at exactly that.
Who won't actually have any empathy for anyone, yet will go and talk to people. She's going to One World, where she's talking to 190 young people about how they should be, and I think nobody should allow her there, because who wants to be like that?
Well, she seems to have, and she has.
Some palace aides have suggested that Meghan often framed her clashes with Kate as simple personality differences or cultural misunderstandings. But through Angela Levin's lens, those tensions look far more like the residue of a rivalry Meghan could never win and could never fully forgive. In Britain, Meghan's public image has taken hit after hit. But in the US, where she and Harry have worked tirelessly to rebuild their brand, the fairy tale romance remains the cornerstone of their public appeal. If Americans begin to view Harry not as the great love of her life, but as the backup plan, the fallout could be catastrophic for brand Sussex. The Oprah interview, the Netflix docuseries, even Harry's memoir Spare, all risk being recast in a far less flattering light.
A lot of people who want to be like her or emulate her, the Sussexes, there's some sort of the Sussex squad or whatever they call themselves. And then there was that comment that she made about the fact that people in South Africa celebrated when Nelson Mandela was released from prison.
That's the key one. I should have said that first.
I mean, but it's...
The Sussex brand has always been woven with the idea of a meeting of souls against impossible odds. But strip away that central romance, and what's left? Two disillusioned royals whose public persona may have been built on a false premise. A love story that, if Angela Levin's claim holds true, began not with fate, but with failure. For years, palace insiders have accused Meghan of treating the monarchy like a Hollywood studio, a platform to be leveraged for personal advancement, not an institution to be honored. Levin's revelation doesn't just echo that criticism, it supercharges it. Because if Meghan's first royal ambition was the heir, not the spare, it reframes her marriage to Harry, not as a grand romance, but as a calculated career move.
It was received in about the same happiness that when Mandela left the prison. Well, that's, beyond reason. And his grandson said that it was absolute nonsense. She should never have done that. But she said it came from when she went to see a theatre.
Not a romance, but a strategy. It casts the palace's early skepticism toward Meghan as not only understandable, but perhaps entirely justified. This is why, even among royals who have stayed silent on the Sussex drama, there's a quiet sense of grim vindication. They suspected her motives from the very beginning, and now the public may finally understand why. And then there's Meghan's silence. In past controversies, from the infamous Kate made me cry claim to the allegations of bullying palace staff, she's always responded, always tried to control the narrative.
The Lion King, and there was only one black person there, and he said he never said anything like that. He wouldn't dream of saying anything like that.
He said he didn't even speak to her. That's what he said.
Yeah.
He didn't speak to her or anything.
Meghan's truths are not many other people's truths. But I think people don't understand that.
Meghan has never hesitated to issue statements, grant interviews, or unleash her lawyers on critics. But on Angela Levin's explosive claim that she originally had her sights set on William, there's been nothing. No denial, no carefully worded statement, not even a sarcastic quip. In the court of public opinion, silence is dangerous. To her critics, it looks like confirmation. To her supporters, it's an uncomfortable void they can't easily defend. And to the broader public, it's yet another reminder that when the narrative turns,